What's up, guys? It's your boy Xander here, back with another video. And today we're going to talk about Miss Americana. So Miss Americana is the documentary that Taylor Swift just dropped on the 31st. And I wanted to get into it. So I heard a lot about it leading up to the documentary, and I actually watched it last night. So I decided to come and make a video for you guys to talk about my thoughts. Like always, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you click that notification bell to know when I post new content. This is Sander. Let's dive into my review of Miss Americana. So I'll start by saying that Miss Americana definitely gave me a lot more than I thought I was going to get from the documentary. It really does follow Taylor Swift in a way from her early teenage years up through the Lover era, which is her latest era. So I was really excited to kind of see a lot of what was in there. So I'm just going to break down some of the things, or some of the biggest points, and some of the things that kind of stuck out to me during this documentary. One of the things that I loved about this documentary was that Taylor Swift really does, she gets open and honest just about her mindset, about her thoughts and things like that. She talks in the documentary about how for a very long time, a large part of her being, a large part of her thought process was to be thought of as being good, as being the good girl. And that really kind of goes hand in hand with, the country eras that she had. She was like the good girl, that good, reserved, very safe music artist. And granted, she was very young at the time, but it's really interesting to kind of hear her say, like, look, I needed to be thought of as good. That was like my main thing. And so that explained a lot to me, following Taylor Swift throughout her career and being a fan, from the Fearless era on and off up until this Lover era. So that was really great. And I was glad to kind of see her say that and kind of explain a little bit about what that meant and how that played with the decisions that she made, with the music that she wrote, and all types of things like that. So I was really loving that. Another thing I really loved about this documentary is that you get to see her process. So everybody knows that Taylor Swift is regarded as one of the greatest songwriters. I want to say it's Speak Now, which is the album that she wrote completely by herself, which is so impressive because that just does not happen nowadays. But you get to see her in her element. And one of the things I love about documentaries like these, and one of the things I love about my favorite artists, is being able to get to see them in their element. So you get to see Taylor Swift, how she's listening to melodies and then writing to the melodies and, playing the songs and things like that and coming up with, her albums. So it was really great to kind of see someone who is as good of a songwriter as Taylor Swift in that process, playing around with words, playing around with melodies, things like that to kind of, bring her songs to fruition. So I was really kind of grateful to see that, and that made me appreciate her artistically on another level. So everybody knows that Taylor Swift, she sings and she can play the guitar, but she also can play the piano, and a bunch of other stuff that was displayed in this documentary. And so I was really, really glad to see that because it kind of really displays Taylor not only as a songwriter, but as an artist. So that was really cool to see in this documentary. I will say one of the things that, I don't want to say bothered me, but yeah, I guess bothered me about Taylor Swift at one point in time was that she was playing the politically safe card. And she touches on that in the documentary, talking about how she just didn't speak up. No politics, no religion, safe speak. Me as a black man, I don't know, I feel like when there are artists that are privileged, or when there are artists that, speak on certain things or don't speak on certain things, that sends a clear message. When you're not saying something, you're saying something. And so I guess one of the things that that didn't rub me the right way was that Taylor Swift never spoke up about, the Donald Trump situation and just a lot of the injustices that were going on in the world. As someone, as a member of a minority, someone who, is oppressed and things like that, it really kind of warms my heart more when artists do speak up, and it always kind of made me feel a way that Taylor Swift, who was at my time one of my favorites, didn't speak up. But you know what? This documentary really put things into place. And when I say that, no artist is obligated to speak up. Nobody is required to do that. And that's not what I'm saying. But I do appreciate that in this documentary, you kind of see why she didn't. She always wanted to be thought of as the good girl. She always wanted to be, she didn't want to be someone on that side of things. And there's actually an interview clip in there where Taylor Swift says, people don't want to hear political opinions from me. They just want to hear my songs. I am not of the mindset that artists can't speak up on politics because, they're artists, but they still live in this world and they still have to deal with the consequences of what goes on in the world. And that, obviously they're more well off, but at the end of the day, they're human. And so it's okay for them to have an opinion. And I'm of the belief that they should have an opinion and they should speak up. But this documentary really kind of helped to show why Taylor didn't speak up. And it answered the question that I had, when I was younger, growing up, why isn't she speaking up? Why isn't she saying anything? And it really kind of explained why. So there's a part in the documentary where Taylor Swift is basically going at it with her dad, and she's very adamant about, like, hey, I have to speak up. This person that's up for election does not believe in basic human rights, does not believe in basic women rights, does not believe in rights for homosexuals. And it was really amazing to see Taylor Swift, get to that point where she's like, you know what? I don't care what people think about me. I'm going to do it. And she came to tears at one point, and I may put the clip up here, but she came to tears at one point telling her dad, like, hey, this is important to me, and I need you to forgive me for doing it because I'm doing it. And that moment was amazing to me. That moment was really, it was just like, wow. Like, she is at a point now where it's just like, I don't care what people think about me. I need to speak up, and I'm going to. And as someone, as a black man, growing up in the United States and things like that, I think that's amazing. And so while I was, before I was just like, why is she not speaking up? It really puts things into perspective when your dad is helping manage your career and things like that. And, you start in a country genre, which is typically, Christian conservative values and things like that. It can be very hard to go against the grain because we see what happened to the Dixie Chicks, which is also something that is touched on in the documentary. So to see Taylor get to a point where she is standing up, for what she believes in, regardless of what her father is saying, and to see her mother supporting her through that, that was really nice. And that was probably my favorite part about the documentary. So thank you to Taylor Swift for, doing that. For even though you don't have to, thank you for going that extra mile and speaking out the way that you did. And I do remember when that happened, but it was really cool to kind of see behind the scenes how that process went about, and knowing that it was something that her team didn't necessarily agree with and she chose to do it anyway. That I loved. Lastly, one of the things I want to focus on or touch on is a lot of people, especially, in recent years, has tried to make it or under the impression that Taylor Swift is the victim. She likes to play the victim a lot. And I try to shy away from that narrative. To be completely honest, I get what people mean when they say it, just because her songs, they're about exes and then the issue stuff with the drama with Kanye West and things like that. But I am never one to invalidate a person's experience. And I don't necessarily think that Taylor Swift, is trying to play the victim or tries to play the victim. I think she just talks about things from her experience. And in this documentary, you do, get to see what the Kanye process was like. And, the initial thing where Kanye went on stage and did that really dumb thing that he did. And then after that with his song Famous. So you get to kind of see Taylor Swift along this journey of actually being victimized. I mean, because she was a victim. And it touches on when that guy touched her inappropriately and she sued him, countersued him for $1, which is a boss move, by the way. But you kind of get to see why Taylor Swift went from, being that good girl, to going through these things to, I'm going to speak up for what I believe in because there's no way that I can't at this point. I think she says something like that in the documentary, like, what happened changed me. And it changed me to the point where I can no longer not say anything. And so while, there's a video going around on Twitter where Taylor Swift is talking about not only the Kanye thing, but where Reputation didn't get nominated for the Big Four at the Grammys, and she's just like, I gotta make a better record. And people are trying to say that was, her playing the victim. And I don't think it was. I think it was to kind of show that artists in general, they're sensitive about their stuff. Beyonce said it best. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about mine, And I think that sometimes these artists do, even as big as Taylor Swift, sometimes they do tend to try to find validation in things like Grammys and from their peers. And I think that Taylor's at a point now that she doesn't care. And I think that's amazing. So I would definitely not say she's playing the victim. I think she's just telling about her experiences and how she's experienced them. And I'm never one to invalidate a person's experience. These are her experiences, and I really kudos to her for speaking up about it. Overall, I feel like the documentary was great. I feel like it's a great look into the life of Taylor and how she's developed and progressed. And it's really cool, you know, seeing her errors. You know, Fearless, Speak Now, you know, Red, 1989, Reputation, Lover. It's really cool to kind of see her progression through all of those things to where she is now. And I'm definitely appreciative of this documentary. So I was really, really, really excited, you know, to see all of the stuff that was in there, and it definitely did not disappoint. So let me know, guys, what you thought about Miss Americana down in the comments below. Like always, my name is Xander. Don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and then don't forget to click that notification bell down below. Thank you, guys. Signing out.